And when you open your eyes in the morning, before the distractions begin and before the weight of your to-do list settles in, there is a sacred moment, an opportunity to choose how your day will unfold. In that quiet moment, say to yourself, today is a gift. I will use it with purpose. It might sound simple, but this statement can radically change the trajectory of your entire day. It's more than a motivational phrase. It's a declaration of intent, a reminder of divine grace, and a call to action all at once. Each new day is something you didn't earn and can't replicate. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, wrapped in time, delivered with breath. We often treat days like they're endless or disposable, forgetting that not everyone woke up today. The truth is, life doesn't promise us a certain number of mornings. So when you wake up and affirm that today is a gift, you're acknowledging the privilege of being alive. That awareness alone awakens gratitude, one of the most powerful spiritual and mental states you can carry into your daily life. Gratitude isn't passive. It's not about ignoring struggles or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that in spite of the challenges, you've been given another chance to move forward, to grow, to heal, to influence, and to fulfill your purpose. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's possible. And that shift can unlock energy, clarity, and drive that would otherwise stay dormant under the weight of negativity. But gratitude is just the beginning. When you tell yourself you will use today with purpose, you're stepping into responsibility. You're making a choice not to drift through the hours, but to lead them. You're rejecting the lie that you're a victim of your schedule or your past or your current limitations. Instead, you're aligning yourself with a deeper truth, that you were created for a reason, and that reason doesn't pause just because life feels routine. Purpose isn't always some massive goal that gets headlines or applause. Often, it shows up in how you treat people, how you speak to yourself, how you honor your commitments, how you respond to adversity, and how you invest your time. Saying, I will use today with purpose means you don't need everything to be perfect to make it meaningful. It means even in ordinary moments, like your morning coffee, your drive to work, your quiet time, you can live intentionally, fully present, fully committed. And when obstacles come, and they will, that purpose becomes your anchor. It's what reminds you that problems are not stop signs, but opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When you affirm that today is a gift, you're less likely to let minor inconveniences steal your peace. You become more solution-oriented because you've already decided the day is worth fighting for. This mindset is also a spiritual alignment. In the wisdom of Scripture and the teachings of many great minds, we're reminded that life is not accidental. You were knit together with vision and intentionality. Every day you're alive is another canvas for that vision to unfold. Saying this phrase in the morning is like stepping into agreement with your Creator. It's a way of saying, I see the value in what you've given me, and I'm ready to steward it well. In practical terms, this could mean setting priorities that align with your long-term values. It could mean refusing to waste emotional energy on things you cannot control. It could mean choosing discipline over delay, choosing encouragement over criticism, choosing forgiveness over bitterness. Purpose doesn't always show up as a lightning bolt. Often, it whispers in the small decisions that add up to a meaningful life. And don't underestimate the ripple effect of living this way. When you carry purpose into your day, it affects how you show up in your relationships, how you lead at work, how you speak to your children, how you interact with strangers. People can feel when you've decided that today matters. They can see it in your posture, hear it in your tone, and experience it through your actions. And one phrase, today is a gift and I will use it with purpose, is more than just a morning ritual. It's a mindset, a posture, and a daily recommitment to living with vision. It's a way of waking up, not just physically, but spiritually. Because when you start the day with gratitude and purpose, you step into it with power. And that kind of day, multiplied over time, becomes a life worth living. Every morning before the world has a chance to define who you are, you have the power to remind yourself of a life-changing truth. I am in control of my thoughts, not my circumstances. This one affirmation can become the anchor that holds you steady through chaos, uncertainty, and pressure. Because the reality is you can't always choose what happens around you, but you can always choose what happens within you. From the moment we wake up, our minds are flooded with information, news, social media, responsibilities, and the leftover weight of yesterday's worries. But the mind is not a dumping ground, it's a garden. And what you allow to grow there will determine the atmosphere of your entire day. If you let fear, doubt, or frustration take root in the first moments of the morning, those emotions will dictate how you handle every interaction and challenge that comes your way. But if you begin the day by asserting control over your thoughts, you shift from being reactive to being intentional. It's easy to feel powerless in a world that constantly throws curveballs. One phone call can bring bad news. One email can shift your plans. One unexpected event can rattle your sense of peace. But the power doesn't lie in the event. It lies in your response. That's where wisdom lives. That's where the internal strength is built. You can't stop every storm, but you can learn to be the calm in the middle of it. And that begins with the way you think. When you say to yourself, I am in control of my thoughts, you're not ignoring the reality of your circumstances. You're elevating yourself above them. You're taking a position of leadership in your own mind. That's where transformation begins. Because every action, every word, and every decision is birthed in thought. And if your thoughts are scattered, fearful, or defeated, your life will follow that pattern. There's a principle that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. That means your inner dialogue becomes your outer reality. If you tell yourself that you're overwhelmed, incapable, or stuck, you'll behave in ways that confirm those beliefs. But when you renew your mind with empowering thoughts, grounded in truth and purpose, you begin to act from a place of confidence and clarity, even when the world around you is uncertain. This doesn't mean you'll never face doubt or anxiety. Those feelings are part of being human. But it means those feelings don't get to steer your life. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. You decide what enters, what stays, and what gets cast out. That's why what you say to yourself first thing in the morning matters so much. It sets the tone. It trains your brain. It tells your soul that you're not a victim of your environment. You're a creator within it. Consider this. You can wake up in a noisy, demanding world and still choose peace. You can face financial struggles, relational tensions, or uncertainty about the future and still choose perspective. That's not denial. That's dominion. That's wisdom. That's spiritual maturity. And that's what separates people who live reactively from those who lead themselves with purpose. Your mind is a battlefield, and the enemy is anything that tries to convince you that you're powerless. But every morning when you say, I am in control of my thoughts, you pick up your spiritual armor. You choose to feed your faith instead of your fear. You choose to focus on solutions instead of problems. You choose to reflect instead of react. And over time, that choice becomes your habit. That habit becomes your mindset, and that mindset becomes your life. This mindset doesn't just affect you, it influences everyone around you. When you show up with peace in your spirit and strength in your thoughts, it becomes contagious. Your calm helps others find their own. Your clarity lifts the fog for someone else. That's leadership. That's impact. And it all starts with what you say to yourself when the day begins. You weren't designed to be at the mercy of your environment. You were created with the capacity to rise above it, to be the thermostat, not the thermometer, to set the temperature, not just reflect it. But it all starts in your thoughts. So tomorrow morning, before your feet hit the floor, make a decision, speak it out, own it. I am in control of my thoughts, not my circumstances. And when life tries to shake you, you'll remember you've already claimed your ground. There's something powerful about waking up and reminding yourself, my work today has eternal impact. That statement might feel weighty, even overwhelming at first, but it's meant to lift your perspective, not burden your heart. because so many people wake up thinking their daily efforts don't matter. They assume the impact they make is small, invisible, or forgotten. But what if you realize that everything you do, every conversation, every step of effort, every act of excellence is planting a seed that will grow beyond your lifetime? When you embrace this truth first thing in the morning, your ordinary becomes sacred. The job you go to, the people you talk to, the commitments you uphold, they aren't just tasks to complete or people to tolerate. They are opportunities to serve, to influence, to shine. The wisdom is in recognizing that what feels routine might actually be divine in disguise. Too often, we separate the big moments from the small ones. We think that impact is only made from a stage or with a platform or after a major achievement. But the truth is, the way you do what you do today, the attitude you carry, the integrity you hold, the love you give, echoes far beyond what you can see. A kind word to someone struggling could be the very thing that keeps them going. A small step of faith in your work could unlock something greater down the road. Eternal impact is rarely loud, but it is always lasting. When you say to yourself that your work matters on a deeper level, you shift from surviving your day to sowing into it. You stop chasing validation from others and start living for something bigger than yourself. That kind of mindset changes how you approach everything. Suddenly, you're not just answering emails, you're building trust. You're not just cleaning your home, you're creating a place of peace and love. You're not just raising your children, you're shaping souls. And that's not just motivational fluff. That's purpose in action. And it's not about perfection. It's not about doing everything flawlessly. It's about showing up with intention and integrity, knowing that even the unseen parts of your day are seen by God. That mindset is freeing because it reminds you that your value isn't determined by recognition. It's rooted in obedience and excellence. You can have impact without applause. You can be faithful in the shadows and still leave a legacy of light. This way of thinking also protects you from burnout. When you believe your work matters eternally, it gives your struggle meaning. It gives your discipline direction. It allows you to endure the hard seasons because you know you're building something that outlives the moment. And that kind of vision strengthens your resolve when things feel repetitive, frustrating, or slow. You stop asking, is this worth it? And start declaring, this is building something bigger than me. There's also a spiritual reality tied to this truth. In Scripture, we're reminded over and over that our labor in the Lord is not in vain. That means what you do today, when done with love, faith, and purpose, is recorded in eternity. It's multiplied in ways you can't measure. Even the smallest act of faithfulness carries weight in the spiritual realm. So when you wake up and choose to give your best, not for applause, but because it honors your Creator, you're aligning with a deeper rhythm of life. Imagine a world where more people believe this. Imagine the shift if every teacher, parent, business owner, leader, and worker started their day believing their contribution had eternal value. You'd see more kindness, more excellence, more patience, more purpose. You'd see people lifting their heads a little higher, choosing consistency over comfort, and showing up with renewed strength even when no one's watching. This is not about adding pressure. It's about awakening potential. Because when you believe that your work matters on a deeper level, you stop measuring success by what you get and start measuring it by what you give. And that's where true fulfillment lives. Not in the paycheck, the praise, or the promotion, but in the peace of knowing you gave your best and honored your calling. So tomorrow, when you wake up and feel like nothing you do really matters, remember this: someone is watching how you live. Someone is learning from your consistency. Someone is being strengthened by your faith. And even if no one sees it, heaven does. That alone makes today sacred. Because when you live with eternal impact in mind, you don't just go through the day, you grow through it. There's something incredibly powerful about starting your day with this simple yet transformative statement: I am becoming who God created me to be. It's not just a nice thought. It's a declaration of identity, growth, and divine alignment. When those words leave your mouth, they start to shape your mindset, your confidence, and your decisions. Because the truth is, every day you wake up, you are not the same person you were yesterday. You're in motion. You're being shaped, refined, and guided into the fullness of who you were always meant to be. Many people wake up feeling like they're behind, like they're not enough, or like they'll never measure up. They carry yesterday's failures and fears into today's opportunities. But when you start your morning with this kind of declaration, you break the cycle of comparison and shame. You're not comparing yourself to others. You're anchoring yourself in who God says you are, and that changes everything. You were created with intention. You're not a mistake, not an accident, and certainly not just surviving life day by day. There's a purpose over your life, a design to your personality, your gifts, your story. And that purpose isn't fulfilled in one giant leap. It's lived out day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. So when you say, I am becoming who God created me to be, you're giving yourself permission to be in process. You're acknowledging that you're not finished yet, but you're moving forward. This kind of mindset takes the pressure off perfection and places the focus on progress. So often we wait to feel ready, or we wait until we've figured everything out before we take a step. But growth doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds gradually. And some of the most important parts of who you're becoming are formed in the mundane, quiet, often difficult moments of life. That's why speaking this truth first thing in the morning matters so much. It realigns your focus. It reminds you that today is not wasted, and neither are you. When you see yourself through this lens, you start to treat yourself with more grace. You stop beating yourself up for not being further along. You stop letting insecurity dictate your worth. Instead, you start honoring your journey. You start recognizing that even your struggles are shaping your strength. Even your waiting seasons are cultivating deeper trust. Even your detours are part of your development. You begin to realize that growth is not just about achievement. It's about becoming more whole, more faithful, more courageous, and more aligned with God's original design for your life. This declaration also builds resilience. Because on the hard days, and there will be hard days, you'll need a reason to keep showing up. You'll need a reminder that the pain has purpose, that the resistance is refining you, and that God is still at work even when you feel stuck. Saying, I am becoming who God created me to be, gives you that reminder. It keeps your eyes fixed, not on how far you have to go, but on the truth that you're already on the way. And let's be honest, our world is loud with opinions. Social media tells you who you should be. Culture tells you what success looks like. Even your own inner critic whispers doubts about whether you're good enough. But when you start your morning grounded in your God-given identity, you silence those lies before they even have a chance to take root. You walk into the day already knowing that you don't need to prove your worth, you just need to walk in it. This way of thinking changes how you show up in your relationships, your work, and your challenges. You don't have to compete because you know your calling is unique. You don't have to chase validation because you're already chosen. You don't have to pretend to have it all together because you're secure in the process of becoming. That's the kind of confidence that can't be shaken by opinions or circumstances. It's the kind that's built on truth, not trends. And here's the most beautiful part. As you become who God created you to be, you help others do the same. Your life becomes a light. Your growth becomes permission for others to grow. Your vulnerability becomes a bridge for someone else's healing. That's the ripple effect of living with intentionality and identity. You're not just becoming for your sake, you're becoming for the sake of those connected to your journey. So when the alarm goes off tomorrow morning and you're tempted to reach for your phone or rehearse your fears, take a moment. Speak truth over yourself. Say it out loud. I am becoming who God created me to be. Let that truth guide your thoughts, your steps, and your choices. Because you are in process and God is not finished with you yet.